Welcome back, everybody. If you're new here, I'm Erkin. This is the Tech Waffler YouTube channel where we waffle about tech. You get what I did there. So yeah, in this box, of course, as you can tell by the title, the thumbnail, all that good stuff, the FX3. Most people's dream camera, my dream camera for a long time, and what most people have been told and conditioned to think this is our dream camera. Of course, the camera that I have at the moment, A7C Mark II, the portability, the quality, just everything I want in a camera when it comes to photos, videos, all that good stuff. I do have an A7 IV, which I'm getting rid of. Hence the reason I bought this. And yeah, we'll talk more on that later. Let's open this up though and see what's what. Is it all hype? Is it all just us being influenced by the influencers? But you know what they say, there's no smoke without fire. And I know there's a lot missing from this camera that I wish in 2025 we did have. Open gate. Anyways, let's open this up and see what's what. Okay, moment of truth. There we go, we're in. Cinema land, baby. The land of cinema. Wow, this is massive. Oh, of course. I forgot there's the top handle involved as well. Cinema line there, Sony Cinema Line FX3 Alpha, and then the front view of the camera. I never know how to get these tags open without ruining the box. Oh, I think I did it. Oh, that's it. Okay, we got paperwork, more paperwork, more paperwork. Oh, what's this? Some more paperwork. XLR mount, I think. Whoa, this means business. Not as heavy as I thought, but definitely gonna do the job for me because I needed something like this with my XLR microphone. It just makes sense, you know? Wow, quite a few bits and bobs there that I need to get my head around. But yeah, it's gonna do the job for me. 2 ports, I think, yes. I think you press it, there you go. Got channels there, input, and then obviously these go on to the top of the camera, or you can get the NATO rail that attaches to the top of it too. This just goes in the shoe mount to obviously power the actual handle. What else we got here? Oh yes, a charger, which I did need because I do use a third-party charger. I just want things that are official, you know, just saves me a bit of peace of mind knowing it's a Sony product. But yeah, 2 batteries in here to charge. You've got the USB port there. Right, this battery is like well hidden. I have no idea what this is. We'll figure that out, but I've not seen this before. It could be for the XLR mount, I'm guessing, maybe. I don't know. Official battery by Sony, the NP-FZ100 or FZ. Okay, what you guys have been waiting for, probably the FX3A. Did I mention it's the 3A? No NFC on here. I think that's what they've taken away. The sensor. Ooh, yeah, boy. Full frame, baby. The only way to go. No, I'm joking. I don't really mind, honestly. I had the FX30, but this is just, it's goated, isn't it? It's just really well made. You got the vents or the fan for the overheating or to prevent it. You got the full HDMI, got other ports. You got the mic jacks, the headphone jacks to monitor, and then you got the ports to charge and live stream and all that good stuff. So that's another thing they updated from the original FX3, apparently. Got the multi-interface shoe, hot shoe there. Get in there. And then the buttons, and then the buttons. Right, so I'm gonna set this up very quickly and then get back to you in a memento. Man, I didn't even realize how small it is. Like, comparing it even to the A7 IV. A7C2, obviously it's heavier, it's a bit bigger with the bulk of the grip, the fan, stuff like that. It's thicker, you know, it's got more junk in the trunk. I've set it up to, I guess, what I need it to do in terms of functions, dial commands, shortcuts, all that good stuff. Very similar to what I've already got on my A7 IV and A7C2. It's just a great ergonomic camera. It's not the best when it comes to how it feels in hand when it's not rigged out, like with a cage, which I do have on the way, but it's great. Like, I know why people use this handheld now instead of with gimbals. I never got it, and now I get it. Like, it's really nice in hand. But look, reasons why I got the FX3A in 2025, a lot of it comes down to where I'm taking my professional career when it comes to videography, filmmaking, content creating. Now, the reason why I am getting rid of the A7 IV is because I've got the A7C Mark II. And which one you'd go for out of the two, it all comes down to what you want and what you like. The C2 for me, it's more portable, it's lighter. I don't mind losing out on the dual card slots, the joystick, full HDMI, stuff like that because of the portability. Now, the FX3A makes up for a lot of that I will be losing with the A7 IV. Of course, we all know about the low light capabilities with this camera, which is another big bonus why I'm getting it or why I've got it, because there were some times where I've done like some vlogs or shooting and the ISO cranked up on the A7C2, even the A7 IV, the grain is graining. Now to some people, it's not a big deal. And of course you can use post-production editing and stuff like that. But where I wanna go, where I wanna take my media company, which is something I have just started out recently, officially anyway, this is, I think, the go-to in my price range anyway. I know it's not cheap, 3.5K, mental. I've got the lenses I want now. I'm recording on the 16 to 35 G Master 2, them two. I mean, come on, it's a game changer in my opinion. So yeah, that was one of the reasons. Low light capabilities. Of course, it's the 3A, so it's a bit more updated with the screen, the ports. It's just updated, which is what I want, because the FX3, the OG, if you will, 2021, I think. So instead of me wanting to wait for the FX3 II, I was like, look, eventually, if I want to upgrade, I could always just trade this in with a bit of money on top and I'm good to go, because the FX3s, they don't really lose their value. Of course, the mounting ports, yes, I've got cages on both of my cameras. I'm gonna get one for this, but if I wanted to mount things on without having a cage, I can. So yeah, there's that. Like I said, I am getting rid of the A7 IV, so having the dual card slots and a joystick is nice to have for a video-centric camera especially. Also, I do a lot of podcasting, live streaming too. So long form content, an hour, 2 hours, sometimes even more. The A7C2 and the A7 IV, very rarely, I'm gonna pull it out there, but when it's very hot in the studio, like summertime, like it has been, there's been a few times where it's saying the temperature's high, just watch it, bruh. Like it's not gonna shut down immediately, but it's giving me a warning. With this, with the fans, I don't have to worry. Like I can plug it in, I can charge it, use a dummy battery, put the fan on, and this will run and run and run, which is what I want. Which is what I miss from the FX30, because I love that camera. Why did I get rid of it? Because I got the A7C II. It's like top trumps. Like I'm swapping out cameras to get other cameras and just get what I need it for. The A7C II though, it's gonna be my sort of go-to everything camera with photography as well, which is obviously not what this FX3, it's not its strongest point, but this camera has a mechanical shutter too. So I've got that versatility if I really wanted to, for a quick snap, for the gram, or even a thumbnail, I can do that. But if it's for professional work or something I wanted to print, my A7C II has got me covered. It's got 33 megapixels. So yeah, higher megapixel count doesn't always equal better, but in terms of cropping, printing, stuff like that, that's why. So where am I up to? I've got the fans for live streaming, longer form content, mounting points, which is always a bonus if you didn't want to put a cage on it, dual card slots, full HDMI, joystick, all the bells and whistles that we want, that we need, I guess, as creators. So is this a camera that I desperately needed? No, it is not. These two cameras, like I keep saying, are well equipped for everything I want to do moving forward and right now. But when I had the chance to get this at a decent price and traded in my A7 IV, which I am gonna do, like I keep saying, I just thought, you know what? Now's the time, push myself forward and start doing different things when it comes to content. Lower light, yes, but I don't have to worry about this overheating. All those sort of things that I've already mentioned. There's a reason why this camera is top dog when it comes to content creating and also production work, like here and there, of course, FX6s and stuff like that. But when it comes to like people who aren't on a production team, this is like their go-to camera. And another reason, which was a bit personal to me, is I've got two cameras that are near enough the same, just in the A7C II's case, a smaller body compared to the A7 IV. Same sensor, a lot of the capabilities very much the same. Two of the best hybrid cameras you can get right now. But this is a lot more video centric. And for me, I'm more video based. Yes, I do photography here and there, whether it is personal or stuff for people. This for me is all about the video stuff first. And I even applied to a job I think a few months ago now, and one of their descriptions, it was for a professional English football team. So Premier League, creme de la creme. I don't want to put them on blast, but yeah, this basically what it said in the description. Have experience with FX3 cameras or FX6. And I was like, whoa, like, do these companies, do these people really take it that seriously? But now I get it. I get what they mean. Whether you do want to do like short form content, long form content with the fans and stuff that I keep mentioning, the features that this camera has, and for a club and business of that caliber to say FX3, FX6. If you don't have those two cameras, we're not even going to look at you. Like, that's how people see this camera. Whether you're in the sort of tech space or not, they know about it. So look, before I leave you, I'm going to switch out and end on the FX3 just to see if there's any difference on camera for me and for you. A7C2, just reminding you what I'm recording on with the 16-35 G Master with DJI mic minis. That is all good when it comes to the settings, like they're the same and everything. One of the pluses that I haven't really mentioned is shutter angle. Now, for some people, it's not a big deal, but for me, I noticed it where I was like, oh, that's something I do miss on my FX30. I was doing a vlog and we're in this sort of shisha caf bar slash food place, and I'm recording the vlog forgetting to put the variable shutter on my A7C2, and there was just like banding everywhere, and I was like, like, it's not a thing where people are going to notice, but when you notice as a creator, it crushes you, because like that little thing I forgot to do where I have to keep reminding myself to set the variable shutter or flicker shutter, whatever it is, anti-flicker. With the FX3 and even FX30, it's got shutter angle. So you don't have to do anything at all. Pull it at 180 degrees and it does it all for you. You know, it's things like that, like ease of use, things that you don't have to worry about constantly that you could easily forget about, and it ruins the whole shot. I'm just thinking, if that was a video that I took very seriously, whether it was for a client or whatever, I'd be screwed. So yeah, shutter angle again is one big deal to me. Now, it looks pretty much the same in terms of how it looks. Yeah, it just looks good. Autofocus, tack sharp, as you would expect. Look at that, pow pow. Now, what's crazy is this camera doesn't even have the AI chip, the autofocus chip that this A7C2 has. A7 IV, elite as well when it comes to autofocus. Sony, creme de la creme. We know. So yeah, for a camera that's just been updated, and internals when it comes to chips and stuff like that, hasn't really been changed, has it? So autofocus for a camera that's been known to be like one of the best when it comes to this, autofocus and all the rest of the jazz, yeah. Great. Now, another big reason why I went for the FX3 in 2025 is the fact that it doesn't crop at 50 frames per second. These cameras are known at this point for cropping in when you want to do 60 or 50 frames per second, depending on where you're from. It is a deal breaker, because if you want to do like slow-mo and stuff like that, you can't really do it to the extent the FX3 can when it comes to the cropping, and you have to just be more tactful. I've got a 13mm APS-C lens, which can do the trick, but I just wanted that bit more versatility when it comes to slow-mo in 4K without the crop. But look, that's pretty much it. I've yapped and yapped far too long. This is an unboxing, this is a first impressions, this is reasons why I got the FX3 in 2025, why I didn't wait for the FX3 II, because who knows when that's actually coming out. We're still waiting for the A7 V. So yeah, I just thought I'd bite the bullet. An updated camera to one of the GOATs, in my opinion, if not the GOAT. Let me know in the comments, are you after the FX3? Do you have it? Do you have the 3A? Do you have the A7 IV, A7C2? Do you have the FX30 and been thinking about upgrading? Now, even though this is still gonna be my go-to hybrid camera for photography and video, this as a video focused only camera, I just can't wait to use it, man. Just do it all kind of thing when it comes to video. But leave all your comments down below. As always, like, comment, share, subscribe. And yes, until the next episode, take care.